What is new math? New math is a topic we get asked about often. What is it? Do we like it? Do we think it's better? Why are we even doing it? Let's start with what new math is. The truth is, math itself has not changed. Math is math. The answer to 17 plus 34 doesn't change. What has changed, or can vary between people, classrooms, and schools, is the way we approach or teach math. For many of us adults, the way they are doing math today is likely pretty different from how we did math in elementary school. This new math might feel weird or confusing or even like they are adding extra steps. Think back to your elementary school math classroom if you can. Was your experience like ours? A lot of the teacher telling you the steps to take on the board, and then you would go back and apply those steps to your workbook page? Maybe there would be some word problems at the end of your practice page of 20 problems. Think a little bit more about the thinking and learning you were doing during that experience. Were you copying the teacher's steps or truly engaging with what was happening mathematically? Can you explain why you do the steps you do in long division? Can you explain why you invert and multiply when dividing fractions? If your answer is yes to these questions, hooray! You're one of the lucky ones. If your answer was no to these questions, and we want to be clear, our answer used to be no to those last two questions, then you're not alone. That has been the case for so many people. And honestly, the reason for that likely has a lot to do with how math was traditionally taught to you. One of the biggest goals with new math is that students truly understand the math they are doing, rather than just repeating steps they see the teacher doing. New math, when it's done right, helps our students think deeply and creatively. It helps them look for and use structures, rather than just memorize isolated facts and algorithms. It helps to prepare them with the skills they will need to be successful in the real world. New math encourages students to draw upon their intuitive understanding of mathematics and what makes sense for them. For example, let's say a student is subtracting 998 from 1001. We want students to approach this in an efficient way that makes sense to them, rather than just memorizing the steps to the standard algorithm. If we solve this problem using the standard algorithm, we have to do a whole lot of borrowing, and we're more likely to make a mistake. Kids also are less likely to understand what they are doing is regrouping a 10 to become 10 ones, 100 to become 10 tens, and so on, because they've just been taught to memorize the steps. A kid who is using a more understanding-based, new math approach might think, 998 is just 2 away from being 1,000, and then there's one more to get to 1,001, so 998 is just 3 less than 1,001. The answer is 3. In new math, a student can use their number sense and growing understanding to help them approach and work through problems in a way that makes sense to them. Sometimes the traditional algorithm might make the most sense to use, but sometimes it is less efficient. New math encourages students to use a method that makes sense to the problem. We've heard the stories about the tears at the kitchen table. We've heard the frustration from the kids and from the adults. We want something better for all of our kids. We want something better for all of us. New math can help students feel more excited and empowered as mathematicians, but we also know adults can feel overwhelmed by new math, as it feels like they're having to teach themselves math all over again without any help. The Math Happiness Project is here to help you navigate your journey with new math, so you and your child can understand what's happening with their math, feel confident, and maybe even find some joy in doing math.